Hello, welcome to my channel. It is the second video I am making on Anglo Saxon period. And in this video, I am going to discuss the major literary works of Anglo Saxon period, or also it is also known as Old English period. In my previous video, I discussed the historical background of Anglo Saxon period, and we also understood how the name Anglo Saxon came from two Germanic tribes, Angles and Saxons. Angles, Saxons, and Jutes were three powerful Germanic tribes who attacked and occupied England during 5th century. Here, the first information that I have added here, the name Anglo-Saxon was first used in the national sense by the scholar Camden in his History of Britain. So the name or the term Anglo-Saxon was first used in the national sense by this man, the scholar Camden, in his work History of Britain. The dialects in my previous video I already mentioned. Here I have mentioned the actual regions where these dialects were spoken. Kentish, it was the language of the southeast. Southeast means southeastern region of England. Mercian, language of the Midlands. West Saxon, language of Wessex. It was used by King Alfred. We will know a lot about King Alfred when we will discuss the Old English prose literature. Northumbria, language of the northeast or Northumbria. The oldest English poem, Kidman's Hymn. Kidman's Hymn is considered as the oldest existing English poem. It was written in Northumbrian dialect. Old English poetry can be divided into three parts: heroic poetry or pagan poetry, lyric poetry or elegies, and Christian poetry. Heroic poetry, the subject matter of heroic poetry actually centered around a hero, the protagonist who was very powerful and very mighty, and he would fight against all evil creatures like monsters, dragons, and he will finally win. And it was the main subject matter of heroic poetry. It was like a hero worship. Next is lyric poetry, which were elegiac in their theme were often sad, or it might be lamentation, so this can be also called elegies. And Christian poetry, as the name suggests, these were religious poetry. Anglo-Saxon poetry is found in four major manuscripts or codices. Manuscripts are the original document. Original handwritten documents are called manuscripts. The four major manuscripts are Beowulf manuscript or Noble Codex, Junius manuscript, the Exeter book, the Vercelli book. So the major works of Anglo-Saxon uh, prose and poetry, Anglo-Saxon works, if not all of them, but most of them are found in these four manuscripts. Okay. Heroic poetry. I have listed here six most important or major heroic poetry. Today we will discuss only the heroic poetry part. Beowulf, Waldear, Widsith, the fight at Finspur, the Battle of Brunanburh, the Battle of Maldon. Now let us understand very briefly the storyline of these heroic poetries. Beowulf. Beowulf, a hero of Geats, came to help Hrothgar to save his kingdom from a fierce monster, Grendel. So Beowulf was a person who was very brave and very strong. He was a hero of Geats. Geats were the name of a German tribes, and Geats belonged to, or Geats inhabited in, the Geatland. Okay, in modern times, it can be considered as the part of modern time Sweden. Okay, and Beowulf came to assist Hrothgar, who was a king, to save his kingdom from a fierce monster whose name was Grendel. So Grendel was a monster who used to raid every night in Hrothgar's great hall, and the name of the hall was Herod. Grendel would come at Herod, and he would kill many innocent soldiers while they were sleeping. So it was a very evil creature. Beowulf would come to help Hrothgar and kill Grendel and also Grendel's mother. Beowulf later became the king of Geatland, and he died by a mortal wound after a fight with a dragon. So he was engaged in a fight with a dragon and he got a wound. So the dragon was slain by Beowulf, but he would succumb to injury. Okay, so it was the wound which took the life of Beowulf. Waldir, it deals with the legend of Walter of Aquitaine. Waldir here refers to Walter of Aquitaine. He and his wife Hildgun were held captives in the court of Attila. They escaped with a great treasure. Gunther and Hagen attacked Waldir and his wife. Waldir fought with them and escaped. That is the storyline of Waldir. Widsith. Widsith or far travelers. The literal meaning of the word Widsith is the far traveler. He was a scope or minstrel. Minstrels were mainly singers or musicians who would come to the courts of kings, and they would sing songs about heroes. Like they used to recite and sing heroic poetry and lyric poetry, okay, with music. And this man Widsith went to many places, and he visited many mead halls of great kings. Through his account we know about many legendary kings and role of minstrels in Germanic society. Next comes three works which were based on three battles. The fight at Finnsburg. It is a fragment. That means it is a very small fragment which was found in a manuscript, and it consisted of 48 lines. Okay, it is a typo. It will be lines. It tells about Nav, the prince of Danes, who defended the Finn's hall with 60 warriors and fought against Finn, who was the lord of Frisians. So the fight was between Nav, who was the prince of Danes, and Finn, who was the lord of Frisians. Now there is a twist that Nav's sister Hildburg was the wife of Finn. Okay, so Hildburg was the wife of Finn, who also happened to be Nav's sister. Okay, so Nav died in the battle, but as it is a very little fragment, we cannot be sure about the exact poem. There are many interpretation of the fragments, and there is a famous Finn's episode. It is an episode, a part in the famous poem Beowulf. You might have Beowulf in your syllabus, so I will surely make part by part videos on Beowulf with contextual references. Okay, the Battle of Brunanburh. This was work is based on a battle that took place in 937. So it is actually based on a real battle, and it was fought between the English army and combined opponent force of Scots, Norse, and Welsh army. So in one side there was British army, and on the other side there were the combined force of Scots, Norse, and Welsh armies. The English army won the battle. Next is the Battle of Maldon. It was also based on a real battle between English army and the Vikings in 991. It took place at the River Blackwater in Essex near Maldon. Okay, the battle took place in the River Blackwater in Essex near Maldon. Maldon is also a place. These are also names of places. The English lost the battle. Next, I have prepared a chart where we can see the heroic poetry, the names of famous heroic poems of Old English period, and where they were found in. Okay, so Beowulf was found in the poem Beowulf was found in Novel Codex or Cotton Vitelus manuscript. Manuscript is short, written MS in short. Waldir, it was found in a manuscript which was discovered in Danish Royal Library in Copenhagen. Widsith uh, was found in the Exeter book in Exeter Cathedral. The fight at Finnsburg, it was found in a manuscript of homilies in Lambeth Palace Library. It is kept in Lambeth Palace Library. The Battle of Brunanburh was found in the Anglo Saxon Chronicle. The Battle of Maldon, it was found in a manuscript in Cotton Library. It is kept in Cotton Library. Okay. The names of libraries are the places where these poems are kept in. Okay, so this was it for today's video. I discussed the heroic poetry of Old English period. In the next videos, I will talk about the lyric poetry, elegies, and the religious poetry. Okay, so keep watching. If you have any confusion, any queries, please let me know in the comment section. Thank you.